Okay, here we go. Today, I'm going to be talking about the punchline approach. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story behind it, and also talking about mindset, especially if you're in the mindset world, what I discovered about mindset and the difference between that and the punchline approach, what I figured out. I am speaking to health and wellness practitioners, if that is you, coaches, or those who are on a journey of self-healing. So this is information that you will be able to put into action right away. So the Punchline Approach is a book that I wrote. It's an actual process of my own personal journey and how I got out of long-term depression. I was trying to figure out how to want to live. So just living on the surface wasn't good enough. I was not feeling joy. I wasn't feeling vibrancy. I felt like I was just trying to figure life out just to survive. So that's a little bit of the story that took me here. I had been into personal development for probably about 30 years. I had a complete hysterectomy at the age of 29, and I kind of lost my eggs at that point. I felt very separated, my mind and body. I didn't know that was going to be an effect of a complete hysterectomy, especially so early, and having 5 kids and a full-time business that I was running myself, and my husband was working shift work. And so I was on the struggle bus, and I was reading all of these books about parenting and relationships, how to stay married, how to go to heaven. It was like a really deep spiritual journey for me, has been since I was a child. And I thought I had things figured out just by changing my mindset. I had been following Louise Hay. I was doing positive affirmations. I was learning about The Secret and the Law of Attraction. Are all of you familiar with those? Just let me know in the chat if this is familiar to you. The Law of Attraction, The Secret, anything Abraham Hicks, yes. Mindset, reading like all of the books about boundaries and codependency and people pleasing and women who are angry and all of those things. Perfect. So you are in the right place because that was my world. I was medicated, pretty heavily medicated. It was a combination of antidepressants, Klonopin, Xanax, and Adderall. That was like the basics of what was keeping me functioning in life. I had been diagnosed with chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, adrenal fatigue, 3rd stage to be specific. I was even told at one point when I had 15 surgeries, and I was being told that I needed to have surgery again. And my practitioner said, you're not going to be able to come back from that. Your adrenals will not be able to handle it. Like, there was so much suggestibility going on in my life that even my practitioners were like agreeing with this concept that my body was broken, that there was something wrong with me. And I had bought into it, since I was a kid. And many of us who were on the struggle bus are trying to move beyond something that happened as children. We just weren't aware of what was missing. And the way that I explain it is, it's kind of like having a pie that's cut in 4 pieces. And one part of the pie is your spirituality, your soul, religion, right? Religion's kind of in control of that. You go to church, go to the priest or the diocese, or if you're Catholic, or to the pastor, whoever it is, and they are going to help you with your soul, right? That's kind of how we understand things. And then the medical community takes care of your body, right? Anything that goes wrong with your physical body. And then psychology kind of took the whole mental thing, the brain, neurology, like all of the stuff that goes on in the mind. And no one is in charge of the emotional system. Can you see where I'm going with this? So it's as if it's a pie. Like our life, a human being is a pie, and it's cut in 4 pieces. And those pieces are sectioned off for someone to take care of. And so it's like there's this split, this mind, body, spirit split that has happened from the beginning. And our parents didn't know. They were just trying to survive, or most of our parents. I shouldn't speak for yours. Most of my clients, myself, and the experience that we had is we didn't receive the emotional support. We weren't allowed to feel through what was going on when we were sad or upset or angry or not getting our way. And we were told to like, buckle up, get in your room, be quiet, don't come out until it's better, right? It's like that kind of thing. And it seems very innocent, right? Because we did it too. Like this has been passed on for generations and generations. And those that I'm speaking to, you guys are generational breakers. So if you are here to stand in the gap between what was and what can be, like truly seeing the possibility for humanity, this is for you. This is where I was too. And for those who are into human design and gene keys and all of this stuff, all of this work aligns with it. Even if you didn't know your birth time, even if you didn't have a human design chart, this is the deconditioning process. It's about unlearning the patterns. It's about unlearning generational patterns, environmental conditioning, religious dogma, and the messaging that you received in your childhood. And the reason I say childhood is because it's the first experience that roots. So if we were 4 years old and we were sad about something and we cried and we were told not to cry, that set a memory, an imprint in our neurology. Our neurology is our nervous system. It's the mind-body connection. And what happens, especially in these unfelt perceptions, is our mind creates a story about it. It is not safe to feel. It's not safe to say that. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get a spanking. I'm going to be put in punishment by myself. And then we lock in that belief and we're moving through life. And now this is our perception. This is what we see. And then something else happens. We attract it and life presents it. Okay. So it's not necessarily like we're at fault. I don't mean that way when I say we attract it. We attract what we believe. And so it's memories that are lodged in the body from very, very early on. You don't even think about. You're not even like recalling that. Matter of fact, it's possibly repressed, locked away, and put in the cellar because that is how the psyche works. The brain always wants to protect us. And so we have this sensation, we have this emotion, we have this story going on in the body, and then we have the mind interpreting it. And then we have the brain who puts up the defense and the wall to keep us safe and to protect us. And now we have this split version of ourselves, right? It's cut in four things. And we go to the doctor for physical pain because we don't recognize that it's actually coming from a separation from ourselves. From our knowing, from our being, and from source. It's not coming because we have a chemical defect in our brain. It's coming from that disconnection. It's coming from that old imprint. We now have a separation from ourselves. Think about little kids when they first come into the world. They gaga, goo goo, they ask for food, they cry, they demand you change their diaper, they demand you hold and rock them, right? They don't think twice about someone's going to be mad at me or they're going to think negatively at all. Do you know any babies who think that? They're like, oh, I better be quiet or they won't hold me. I better be quiet or they won't feed me. Seriously, these are learned patterns. This is conditioning. And we are conditioned to remain safe, to avoid anything that is going to create suffering and struggle and disassociation from safety. Tell me in the chat if you're following along, if this makes sense, if it's simple enough, and then also recognizing it truly is complex because it's unconscious. It's just the natural response of the body and mind. Stop crying. I'll give you something to cry about. Yes, exactly that. And what's so interesting about this work, when I'm going to go through the punchline approach, but I first wanted to plant a foundation and an understanding of where it came from. I didn't have a resource. I didn't have parents to go to as many people because they didn't know this. It wasn't available to us, right? Generations before us were just trying to survive. They were like, shut up. That is not important. We've got serious stuff going on over here. And you're worried about that toy you didn't get for Christmas or that thing that's broken that we can't afford to get another one, right? So right there was a message of unworthiness, of not being priority, not being valid, not being important. Your wants and needs and demands are not as important as our survival right now. And not recognizing that this was creating emotional imprinting in the body that would be kept forever until it was exposed and unlearned. That's what the punchline approach is. Exposure and unlearning. We become aware of what is unaware. We begin to recognize. And then exactly like Kathy just said, this is what's coming up for her, comes up when you're in an environment that is safe. Because when you're safe, your neurology responds with calmness. And when you're calm, it's an opportunity for this stuff to bubble up so that it can have the opportunity for a better outcome. I'm going to say that in a different way. Every human has trauma lodged in the body. Big T, little t. Okay, kind of like truth, big T, little t. Truth is perception. Trauma is separation from self and source, separation from safety and knowing, right? So when you're looking at the idea that there is trauma locked in the body, and there is an imprint, which I call a samskara. This comes from my yoga teacher training. A samskara is an imprint on the energetic body. And so it's something that happened, and it like you imagine a branding, it like brands it in your system. And then your mind, your brain go to work and they tell a story. And then it puts this defense safety mechanism in place. I call this a wall. It's almost like the military. Like it's like this, whoa, I will never be hurt that way again. I'll never be shamed that way again. I need to protect myself. I need to eject. I need to get out of here. I need to go hide in my room. I need to get out of this house. I need to, right? And we have continued to use that safety mechanism even into adulthood because we didn't understand. And that's the difference between mindset. Like if any of you are familiar with what we call the model, like if you're an LCS or a mindset coach, then you already understand that and actually this is for anybody. It could be hypnotherapy, it's cognitive behavior therapy, counseling. Your thoughts create feelings, feelings compel actions, actions create results, right? Perfect, great. Now, what do you do with that information? So in other words, mindset is a tool of awareness. The punchline approach is the how-to steps to create change. And so it's not that one is wrong or one is right. It's an extension of. And when I wrote the book, it was really written from my response to Louise Hay, who kept saying, change your thoughts. And now we have other masters saying, just change your thoughts. Just don't believe that. Just change your thoughts. Well, for those who have trauma lodged in their body, it's not so easy to change your thoughts because your neurology believes that old scenario is still active. I'm going to pause for a minute, and I want you to tell me in the chat if you understand what I just said. Your neurology believes the story, the narrative is still running and active. It believes that it is still truth, that is unsafe to ask for what you want, that you will be shamed, you will be humiliated, you will be disconnected, you will be put aside, you will be punished if you even mention your desires, because that means you're selfish, you're inconsiderate. So your body is still believing that story. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. The work we do through the punchline approach in Self-Healing Masters is actually accessed through the physical body, whereas mindset work bypasses the physical body. So sit with that for a second. So if you change your thought and you don't actually believe the new thought, you can't create. That's the Flaw of Attraction. That is a product that I have in my library if you guys are interested in listening to that. And some of you here have already listened to it. The Flaw of Attraction is when you bypass with mindset and you don't create a new imprint. And the way to create the new imprint is to unlearn, to identify the old and dismantle it first. So imagine from childhood, that belief is like plugged in your system, branded, imprinted, and now your neurology has created a safety mechanism around it. Something happens, body feels that sensation that's locked in by that story. The mind says, here it is again. This always happens to me. I can't get what I want. It repeats the narrative. Brain puts up the wall, goes into resistance, shuts down. So the way to get through that with mindset is to bypass those feelings and go right to a new feeling and then just go do it. But what I'm offering is to do it with ease, with grace, with compassion, and to actually dismantle and reframe, rewrite so that it doesn't keep coming up. That's the difference. Yes, that's the problem I've been having, not creating the new feeling, imprint the body, and only having thoughts in my head. Yes, but that's what we're taught. So there's nothing wrong with it. It is a step in the right direction, right? Just like we now have doctors for the physical body. We now have psychiatry for the mental. We now have religion, spirituality for the soul, for the spirit. Now we have access to heal the repressed, suppressed emotions and the trauma that's lodged in the body. That's what I'm offering you. That's what the punchline approach is. That is the difference. It's super simple. And I'm going to tell you how I came about this. I was listening to Louise Hay tell me to change my thoughts, and I stopped and I said, no. If that were true, I would have gotten this 10 years ago. It's not true. It's not working. If I don't dismantle, unlearn, identify, understand, unveil, unpack the narrative that is my truth, keyword, the narrative that is my truth, according to my perception when I created the imprint. So in other words, our 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 15-year-old self, that story, even though you're in an adult body, that story is still surviving. And so that is what you're attracting. That is the flaw of attraction. You continue to attract what is unconscious and what is lodged in your psyche. The punchline approach is a process to expose and unveil so that you can understand, so that you can reframe, so that you can take a new action once you have created another belief. Mic drop. Give me a hands up, a high five, or something if this makes sense to you. Okay. So this is why when I try to reframe my narrative, yes. This is why so many health and wellness practitioners have imposter syndrome. 100%. It was me too. And that's what I kept telling Louise. I was like, Louise, no. And I was like, I'm going to continue this work. I'm going to teach this because my agreement with source, I knew through that deepest, darkest depression, even surviving a suicide attempt. I was so pissed when I woke up. I was so pissed because I was even rejected by the heavens. This is coming from a younger perspective, right? I was at peace. I had decided to take my own life. It was too hard here. I'm sorry if this is triggering, guys. Just stay for a moment. If it is triggering, I will come back. Just let me know. It was legit for real. And I made a permanent decision. And I wrote my letter and I was done. And then I woke up and I didn't know I was pissed until years later, but I was pissed because I couldn't be here. I couldn't figure it out and I couldn't get out. I was trapped. I was in hell. That is hell. That is hell. And I didn't have an option but to figure it out because I couldn't get out in my perception, in my understanding. And so I made a deal. I had an agreement. Like, there's no way I could be suffering all of this for no reason. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to help other people. But the problem with that is I became a Christian martyr. And I started sacrificing joy and happiness, needs and desires in order to be the savior, because I was misinterpreting Christianity, right? I was glorifying the cross, the crucifix, the suffering. Tell me if this makes sense to you. I was glorifying the suffering. That's what they call spiritual bypassing. Okay. And so I went from victim, which is life is so bad and mean to me, all the way to martyr, which is I am glorified through the struggle. Got it? Yes. So this is the whole journey that got me here. And then I came to that awareness. I saw it. I understood it. Hardest thing ever to break, to get away from that carrying the cross, doing it for the sake of heaven or to please God, to please other people, to put everyone else first, dying to self. I took the Imitation of Christ very, very literally. I read it at a young age. I read it so many times. I've read the Bible so many times. I have 8 Bibles that I spread out to make sure they were not contradictory. This was pretty intense. A lot of years I put into this. And then when I was able to see it differently and the light came on and I got out of that darkness, I knew I was going to teach it, but I wanted to teach it in a different way because the way that I was trying to figure it out wasn't working. I was bypassing, right? So I would spiritually bypass, and then I would mentally bypass. So mentally bypass is using mindset and not going through. There's 2 parts that are missing. So yes, our thoughts do create our reality. 100%. I agree. I'm wondering if you agree. Just raise your hand if you agree. Okay. What's more powerful than your thoughts? Your beliefs. We have something in my portal called Belief Bootcamp. You guys should watch that. It is so good. It's this exact thing, but we go deeper into it on a 5-day challenge. So it's about 5 hours of this work. Your belief comes from thinking a thought over and over and over, and your neurology matching that thought. So in other words, it's a thought with a feeling. And so this is true because I feel it. This is real because I feel it. That's where so many people are stuck. And that is what the law of attraction is not teaching. That aspect right there, just unpacking so that you can understand and then pivoting through the navigation. So here's the process. You have to first come to presence. And the way that I came up with this is I backtracked. Once I got into the light and I got out of hell, I got out of the darkness and I started changing my life. I got off of all of my medications. I've had 2 more incidences where I was sent to the surgeon to have surgery. I did not. I healed my body doing this work. Some of you here on the call experienced that firsthand. Your hands were on my body. You were in my coaching group. You saw it, correct? Okay, I'm just going to say that. So still processing all this new information. Yeah, it's a lot. It's heavy. And that's why I'm kind of slowing down and stopping and pausing, because the work that this does, that I do, is integration and embodiment of the new identity so that it comes with ease and flow. I'm going to repeat that. The work that we do here is we are not just aware. We don't just identify. It is an unlearning, deconditioning process where you therefore integrate the separated parts of yourself that society has separated, right? That the generational patterning has separated. All of the stuff that you've been taught and conditioned to believe that has taken you apart from yourself and disconnected you from source. We integrate those parts back together. And then we embody the new identity, which is the unique individual that you are. We embody that in our being. We bring in the parts of us that have separated. We reframe the narrative. We change the old stories and the beliefs, dismantle and plant. And then we take action. Is anyone interested to know more? Or is this inspiring? Does it make sense? Is it something new and different? Or is it like, oh my God, this is it. This is what's been missing. Are you feeling that? Because that's what I felt when I discovered it. I was like, oh my God, this is everything. That's why I call myself an integrative mind-body coach. And that's who I am as a coach trainer. I help health and wellness practitioners integrate this work in their skill set so that it can help their clients heal this emotional trauma, the unfelt perception, the old childhood wounds, whatever the stories and the narrative that they are carrying in their bodies, so that they can return to wholeness. Because guess what? When you return to wholeness, there is your healing. Your healing doesn't come from an outside source. Your healing doesn't come from someone else's power. It doesn't come from someone else doing it for you. Your healing comes from you reconnecting, integrating, and embodying who you actually are. And that's where human design, gene keys, birth charts. Like that's where all of that comes together. And I said, like, the Punchline Approach is like hypnotherapy. The Punchline Approach is like human design. It works together. It's this, we're saying the same thing. I'm just giving you the framework and the process step by step so that you can quit skipping over the missing piece. We do this work in Self-Healing Masters. That is where I personally coach every single week. And we're bringing these pieces together. And those of you who are in Self-Healing Masters have seen this happen time and time and time again. And we're watching these beings come back into wholeness, come back into health and wellness, come back into joy, come back into belief and worthiness. Wholeness and embody integration. Yes, healing is in the, yes, exactly. Okay, so the very first thing that I did is I had to get present. For me personally, it came through yoga and fitness and meditation. For you, it might be different. Maybe it's through energy work. Maybe it's through Reiki. Maybe it's like, what is the thing that gets you present? Is it walking outside barefooted? Is it hugging a tree? Is it planting in your garden? What brings you to presence? Just think about it for a second. It could be tapping. It could be breath work. Right now in this moment, it could be wiggling your fingers and toes. Just squeeze your toes in. Squeeze your toes in. And now draw the nectar of the earth up through the soles of your feet, all the way up into your body. That's presence. Presence is being here right now. Many, many accesses to it. Remember, this is a framework, so it's universal for coaches and healers and practitioners. It's universal for the individual who wants to self-heal. So first you come to presence, then once you are present, once you are calm, once you feel safe, and once your neurology is available, then we start to expose, to unpack, so that we can understand. That's where the U comes from, right? So you see it's P-U-N-C-H. So presence, unveil or unpack so that you can understand. And because you're in a calm state, you have access to to the frontal cortex, because you do not have access to the frontal cortex when you're in fight, flight, freeze struggle. You don't, sorry. It just doesn't work that way. It can't do all that at one time. So either you're freaking out or you're here. And so get present so that you have access to the frontal cortex, because that is where your power is. Okay. It might take you, like if you're working with clients, it might take a year for you to get your clients to presence. So, or even I've seen it happen in 6 months and I've seen it happen in 3 years. It's like, it depends on what's in the body that they're escaping from. Okay. So presence, unpack to understand. Then once you understand where it's coming from or what the story is or what's the narrative you keep telling yourself, once you understand it because you're now aware of it, this is where so many of you get caught up in mindset work. If the model does not work for you, this is the secret right here. You have to understand it. The model is a great tool for awareness of conscious thoughts, but not of unconscious thoughts. That's the difference. So we unpack it, we see it, we're looking at it. Whoa, isn't that interesting? That makes total sense. Just like you said when I was describing what happens to us as kids. Okay. Now you're going to navigate. What does navigate look like? It's an interruption. For those who know or understand hypnotherapy, this is also the hypnosis process. It's also the law of attraction. See how it's following? It's universal. That's not me. I'm not 5. I'm actually safe. That's a thought. And that's a feeling coming from the belief or the thought. Whoa, isn't that interesting? So instead of doing the same old habit and behavior, pivot. That's the navigate. So we'll just use an example of Oreos. I just think that one's easy. So if you don't want to eat sweets anymore, or you want to lose weight, or you want to quit eating at 8 o'clock at night and get out of the pantry, you just get up and you do it automatically, right? Your body, your neurology, your mentality is like 8:30 Oreos, open the pack, tell yourself you're going to eat 2, eat a whole sleeve, just as soon finish the second. Everybody can relate to what I'm saying. That's the habit and behavior. It's unconscious. Before you know it, you ate the whole sleeve. You didn't mean to. It's because that's unconscious eating. Okay. So what you'll do differently is you hear the voice in your head that says, Oreos, beep, 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 time for the Oreos. And you're like, whoa, I see you. Interesting. What if I don't go? And your body's going to, because your neurology is going to jump. It's going to, like they say, it's like the devil and the angel, but it's actually your neurology in your body. That's like the dopamine hit. Your brain is like, yeah. Let's go get it. Let's go get it. Let's go get it. Let's go get it. Right. So you're like present, breathe, feel into your toes. Do this for 30 to 90 seconds, guys. It's going to change your world. Pause. Unpack. Understand. I want cookies because I need this now so that. These are the questions you ask yourself. The quality of your life depends on the questions that you ask yourself. So don't ask yourself, why do I keep doing this shit? Why can't I stop? Why do I always want it? Don't ask those questions. Change the quality of your questions. I need this because, or I want this because, what is this? This is going to do this for me. Like, find out what that is. And as you're unpacking it, you're actually processing the emotion. So you don't have to go through an emotion. Like, you don't have to do that separately. It's going to happen in the process naturally. So as that, then you're going to tell yourself, I'm going to go eat the Oreos. And you are going to say, actually, that's not me. I'm going to interrupt this pattern. This is how I create change. So you just pivoted. So instead of getting up and going to the pantry and eating the Oreos, and you might make it all the way to the counter. And when you open the pack, do it there. We call it the pun, P-U-N. Another way to look at it is like the SOS, like you stop, you open to explore, and then you stay long enough to change the habit and behavior. Okay. So once you're there and you don't do it anymore, now you can create conscious change in the future. Everybody with me? Give me a thumbs up or tell me in the chat if everybody's with me before I move on to the next step. So I've learned that my stress response is fine. Yep. Fight, flight, freak, fawn, freeze. It's the stunting of the neurology that's coming on board to protect you. Okay. So everybody's good. I'm going to move on. So that's the PUN. The C, here again, the flaw of attraction. The C is create the vision that you do want. So if you're not the person who's getting up to eat Oreos at 8:30 and eating the whole sleeve or the whole bag, who are you? Who really are you? I'm healthy and vibrant and thin and satisfied in other ways. So everybody close your eyes and feel it in your body, because if you don't feel it, you can't create it. What does it feel like to be happy in your body, no matter what the size is, to be agile, to feel vibrant, inspired, motivated, to feel light and easy and free? Don't jump out of this. Stay in it. Bring it back down. I can feel it coming back up. Bring it back down. Bring it back. Wiggle your toes. Every part of my being feels light and free. Say that to yourself right now. Every part of my being feels light and free. I feel tingling sensations of vibrancy moving through my body. I am calm, healthy, whole. All that I need is within me. It is safe to bring my wants and desires on board. Feel that start to move through you. Bring in the light all around you. What else? Use your own words. What else do you want? I feel ease and freedom in my relationships. My body is healthy and strong. Money comes easily to me. All of my needs are provided for. I am aligned with my whole being. I know exactly who I am, and it is safe to want to be more of me. Let that move through your body. You have to first say it, think it, believe it, and then you have to feel it, and then you have to embody it viscerally. And if you embody it viscerally, there is no choice but it to come to you. The problem for most people is not being able to dial in and really embrace and embody that new sensation of freedom and ease and lightness and joy and wholeness. If you don't know what that feels like, if you've never experienced it before, then we know where your work is. So now that you've planted the vision, now we're going to move into the action steps. Okay, now we're going to move into the action steps. Ready? Super simple. You can write this down or you can catch the replay. You're going to choose to believe that you can have that vision. You're going to choose it. Then you're going to commit to it. You're going to commit to yourself. You're going to commit to source, to your life's purpose. You're going to commit fully and wholly, non-negotiable. So much so that you're going to begin to cultivate as that person right now, the person that is in ease and joy and wholeness and flow and joy and play and joy. For those who have never experienced play and joy as an adult, there's going to be some work for you here. Come to Self-Healing Masters. We'll help you do it there, I promise you. Then you're cultivating as if it already happened. So the decisions you make are coming from the person in the vision. You don't come from the scarcity anymore. You don't come from FOMO. You don't come from FORO. There's no fear of running out or missing out. You're in complete alignment of all of your needs being met. That's cultivating. Then you continue every single day. You're going to keep PUN. You're going to keep unpacking it. You're going to plant the vision. And you're going to take these steps again. You're going to commit. You're going to choose. You're going to commit. You're going to cultivate. You're going to continue until it is created. Now, how simple is that? All of the words are there for you. All you have to do is write out punchline, presence. What am I not unpacking? What am I not understanding? What am I not pivoting and navigating? What am I doing that's old instead of new? So look at the letters. They all match up. Am I creating the vision? Am I feeling it in my system? Am I changing my neurology so that the universe can align with me? And am I taking the steps to choose, commit, cultivate, and continue, repeat? Okay. Now, if you do these 5 steps, it's 5 simple steps. And at the beginning, it's going to be PUN for the most part. Most of you are going to get stuck on the end. I promise you, it always happens. And it's not because of you, it's because of the way our brain is. It doesn't want to do something new and different. It doesn't want to let go of the old identity that's safe and predictable. That's it. That's all that's happening here. And so you need constant reminders, and you need support, and you need that accountability for yourself in a community that can help you without judging you, that can remain safe without finger pointing and telling you that you're not good enough and you can't do it. It happens further, but we got to get rid of all of the dialogue. So you need to be in an environment that thinks differently, a positive environment that can hold a belief with you. Okay. So once you do these 5 steps, the line is living your life's legacy. As an integrated being, remember, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. So the pie is back together. Therefore, creating the rest of it, right? Your health, your wellness, your relationships, what you do for a living, how you contribute to the world, all of those things fall into, once you have the pie, then you're expressing from your natural essence. So living your life's legacy as an integrated being, as your natural essence, who you are individually, in ease and flow. Wait, I missed the H. Okay, great. H is the how to create the vision. That's the C's. So presence, unpack, navigate, create the vision, and then how to take massive action. How? You choose it. You commit, you cultivate, you continue, you create. That's how. So that's the H. I am open for questions. Does this make sense? Does it sound like something you can do? Is it something that you want support around? You can get the book. We're rewriting it right now. It's picked up by a publisher. And so we're adding some new content in it, and everything's going to look different. It's a new thing. When I wrote the book, I didn't realize that it was going to be a tool for coaches to use with their clients. I didn't know that that was going to like the natural trajectory. I was just doing this for civilians, for humanity, to have the how-to process that was in the punchline. Does that make sense? Yeah, Jackie's saying support is a must. She's one of our coaches, and she's in Self-Healing Masters and eSchool, and it really does make a difference. I just got my copy a few months ago, but I'm excited. Yeah. So it's great to hear it this way. Then when you read it, you have some context, because the book doesn't have a lot of context, because my mission was to just put the how-to process instead of having all that content. So it's more of a workbook. And that's what we're upgrading, is kind of bringing in a little more personal. And we've added, it's a growing entity. It's like a living thing of its own, that it keeps growing and changing. And it's like, oh my God, and then this, and then this, like all of those letters that came up were not there before. Those have come through the work, like the new. And yes, I agree. I work one-on-one with Danielle Paradan, and she is some of my support through this. And Danielle uses the Punchline Approach, right, Sarah? Yeah, so we now have about over 30 coaches who are using this process. They were either health and wellness practitioners, chiropractors, physical therapists, retired school teachers, spirituality coaches, healers, people who were already teaching and helping other people, especially like massage therapists who were doing it with their hands, or now doing the mind-body work online. So that's what those are the practitioners who have been trained in it. So you can reach out and find someone else. She does, yeah. Anything else? Do you have any questions for me? We have a few minutes. I do have to hop off in about 10, 12 minutes, but I want to, you can come on, or I can even end the video if you want privacy to ask questions, or you can just post them in the chat. Anything you didn't understand? Does it sound simple enough? Do you see what the missing piece is now? How do we join? Let me see. Let me type it in here. See if that worked. It's Self-Healing Masters is $99 a month. You can cancel anytime. But that is, I'm there live coaching every week. If I'm not there, it's one of my coaches who are coaching there. I can't wait for the upgrade, ever changing, just like us. Yes to Self-Healing Masters, and the Punchline Approach is my life manual. My always go-to. Yeah, it really is. It's like, it's kind of like, we believe with human design, if our kids were born with a chart, we would understand them, or at least have a hint of their life. I kind of feel like this with the Punchline Approach, but then it takes all that woo out. So it's like, we're not like overcoming objections of hypnotherapy or yoga and meditation, especially in the South and around religious dogma. We're not having to like, what the hell is human design? All the people about astrology. It bypasses all of that. And it's the deconditioning process, which is saying the same exact thing, because your human design charts and stuff, they're going to give you an outline, but you have access to all potential as a human being. We have neuroplasticity. We can change anything about ourselves at any time. And so this process is actually more expansive than those systems. Oh yes, the most simple and practical. Did you say what I and N are? Yes. Okay. So L is live your legacy. I is integrated. Remember, you're integrating mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. The N is in your natural essence. So that is your bio-individuality. That is who you are as a expressive being, your natural essence. And you're doing it in ease and flow. Legacy, integrated, natural essence, ease and flow. So how would you like to move through life in ease and flow? That's basically what I'm offering through this process. Could you go through the punchline one more time verbally? Yep. I literally have the book in front of me, but I want to hear it again and again and again and continue to read. And you can ask Peggy. Peggy's like, she proofread the book for me and she is still here listening to it again. Let's see. Yep. And actually, we have a workbook. So you have the book. We have a workbook that takes you through 28 days of transformation. You pick one thing to work on. And it's actually the hypnotherapy process, but you're doing it in presence. And so if you looked in here, this is what you're integrating so that you're returning to wholeness. And in a nutshell, I'll just show you this. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you. Presence is the first step to awareness. Unveil to understand the unconscious beliefs. Navigate new habits to change neural pathways. Am I going too fast? Create the vision you want to live and feel it. How to take massive action and embody the results. Choose, commit, cultivate. For those who want to take a screenshot. Oops. Everybody got it? Okay, that's the punch. And here's the line. Live your life's legacy as an integrated being on all levels, in your natural essence as you were created to be, living a life of ease, flow, and personal freedom. So I'll repeat that one more time and just really fast. Presence is the first step to awareness. Unveil to understand the unconscious belief. Navigate new habits to change neural pathways. Create the vision you want to live and feel it in your body. And then how to take massive action is to choose, commit, cultivate, continue, create so that you can live your life's legacy as an integrated being on all levels in your natural essence of ease, flow, and personal freedom. Did that make sense? It's super simple. Isn't it crazy how simple it is? And the mind's like, wait, I didn't get it. But it is so natural that it's like we want it to be complicated and hard and painful, and it's not. It's like yesterday we were doing some intense coaching in Self-Healing Masters. Like I'm talking 30 years of intense trauma recovery work, and we were laughing. And it was just like exposing because the nervous system was relaxed and it was available. I don't spend one day of my life without utilizing the punchline approach in some way. And I use it consistently with my coach clients and in my retreats. It's like my Bible, not meaning it in a sacrilegious way. I do believe it is the embodied gospel of the possibility that Jesus taught. I believe it's the embodied version of that. I believe that is the teaching. Not just Jesus, but all of the spiritual texts. That's what they're saying. We have been conditioned to believe differently because our environment, and it is no one's fault. Do not put your parents or your family or your environment on a hook, because that means you have yourself on a hook. What if everything happened exactly the way it was supposed to, so that you can come to the awareness, so that you can go out and teach and help other people? Right? Anything else? Thank you for contributing. This is great. I am a human design generator. I'm a 6'2". I'm off the roof. And so I am now re-entering the world as a role model, bringing all of the wisdom that I have attained through all of the years, through the struggle and the strife and all of those things. I am bringing that to the world in my natural essence, in a way that uses my languaging, my movement, my body, my creativity. That is my role. I'm in a complete alignment, and I help these health and wellness practitioners bridge the gap between their work and materializing it in the physical world. So if they're way up here woo in the healing world, I bring them down and we ground it. And if they're here in the intellectual world, then I bring them over to the woo and we open up the emotional access and we ground it. And then we create a bridge in between that's integrated and embodied so that we can have a better experience in the material world. That is my cross of plane. That's my exact incarnation cross, is I help people be more successful in the material world. It's very natural. I mean, I don't even try to do it. It's the essence of my belief, and it's the way I can reframe and in the way I envision humanity and the possibility and potential of humanity. And so it's like, I can't kill it. I tried putting the fire out because it was super painful to believe different from everyone else, but it didn't work. Yes, Sarah, you can, we do all of this in Self-Healing Masters. The first thing we do is Emily will get you on a call and we get all of your information. We pull a gene key chart, we pull a human design chart, and we have courses that were actually created in there. And then we have like its own occasion, it's kind of like pop-ups and some are scheduled because we bring in a topic and then we take time to integrate it. And then when we bring it, because we want to prevent people from going down a rabbit hole and intellectualizing human design, because you will become conditioned by human design if you take it as that. So we want to do everything from an integrative approach. Does that make sense? Yep, agreed. Perfect. All right, guys, that's what I have for you. We may do this a few more times through the holidays. I don't have anything else on the schedule. You're welcome. It's the work I plan to do until I die. And it's, matter of fact, if I looked at my gene keys, what I'm going to leave in the world that's in my pearl sequence in my prosperity is 59.1. I'm bringing something new and original, and then the world is going to expand upon it, just like human design is being expanded upon through gene keys and quantum human design, right? It's growing entities because it's living and it's evolving. And it's the same thing with this process. I got that vision whenever I was writing it. I felt it and it was like glowing yellow and I knew it wasn't mine. I was channeling it and I was presenting it. Thank you. You're welcome. All right. If you guys are not part of More Than Mindset, then you can hang out in there. That's the free group. But if you really want to do this work, come to Self-Healing Masters. Guys, it's $99 a month. We do a lot of intensive stuff in there. Yep. Unconscious. Oh, 59.1 is my Venus. Yep. Super interesting, right? My life's work is 6.6. So it's all about finding this resolution and diplomacy in order to bring peace to the world so that there would be more love for potential of humanity. That's if I were to read it out in the corners. All right. For anyone who's listening on YouTube, feel free to ask questions below and I will post a link on how you can join. It's actually in the information channel. So the link to join Self-Healing Masters is there. If you're not ready, guys, it's no big deal. It's still a small group. So you might want to take advantage of that. We're just like 50 people in there. So it's a good time to get a lot of attention. So if you apply for coaching at this point, you're probably going to get in. And so that is crazy valuable because I am not that available anymore for one-on-one. Okay. That's where you start. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any feedback, I'd love for you to reach out, send me a private message or an email or a comment in the More Than Mindset group. If no one has questions, we're going to go ahead and pop off. Give it a minute. I'm going to thank you all for joining. Okay, I think we're done. That's living my design. If I have nothing to respond to, I'm kind of like